Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to our review of episode 8 of season 3 of Star Trek Picard. Joining me, as always, for this season is my best buddy in the whole world and the creator of the Ensign's Log podcast, along with a whole bunch of other podcasts that you should all be listening to. And frankly, I'm disappointed in you if you haven't been. Jason Harding. Hi, Jason.
That's right. I produce the Ensign's Log, and I think I'm running headlong into a plot problem.
Well, if it turns out to be what you repeatedly speculated that it was when we were watching this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you want to do the recap first? Okay. So, Vadic and her people have taken over the Titan.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, hey, send Jack Crusher up here. I want to have a talk with that boy. And if you don't send him up, I'm going to start killing people, because she has all the bridge crew lined up, on the bridge.
And she only kills one person.
She's like, you got 10 minutes. Send Jack up here. I'm going to start killing people. I'm going to kill a person every 10 minutes till you send him up here. And
she killed that super sexy Vulcan lady.
She killed the sexy bald Vulcan lady, which I know was a great disappointment to you.
I liked her a lot.
Well, she's gone.
I know she's gone.
She's gone. And then we keep cutting back and forth between that and Jack and Beverly and Jean-Luc and Sydney LaForge crash in sickbay at first. And they're like, what are we going to do? Should we do something? We should do something. About 15 minutes of that spaced out over about
that
40
much,
minutes.
But yeah.
But anyway, and then we also cut to, there's Geordi and his other daughter in the science lab or wherever it is with Data, and Data has to do his little, actually you called this perfectly. You said, oh, please, let's go to a crazy, wacky white space from Star Trek and have them, and they did exactly that. They did a thing where Geordi decided, because eventually Picard and his people move to where Geordi is, and they all kind of convene around Data, and they're like, okay, our only hope for retaking control of the ship from Vadic is if we can get Data to come back to his senses, and we can plug him into the computer and he can like retake control for us, right? So, but of course, Data and Lore are battling for control of this body. So that's when we go into the freaky Star Trek white space, where we see representations of Data and of Lore, and they're kind of arguing with each other and sort of pushing and pulling.
Data's losing.
Wink. He's giving him the old rope-a-dope. What's happening is Data keeps pulling up little trinkets from Star Trek: The Next Generation, like his pipe and his hat from Sherlock Holmes, and his little hologram of Tasha Yar, and Lore keeps taking them, like, haha, I will take the pieces of you. I will take what makes you you.
I'll take your bullets.
Yeah. And Data's like, oh no, please don't take it.
He doesn't even do that. He's like willfully
he just hands him over. Yeah. And eventually, and you kind of see this coming. It's not really a surprise, but that doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. It's the Data Lore stuff is all right. But eventually what happens is Data gives all of himself through his various memories to Lore, and Lore kind of becomes Data. Like Data takes over Lore, because Lore has taken on all of Data's memories and personality and life experiences. So Data then becomes the dominant personality in that body, and he wakes up and he's like, it's me, Data, but not really, but kind of, sort of, mostly. Data, but a little different.
Yeah, I can use contractions now.
I can use contractions. I can make jokes. And so Data takes back control of the bridge. And also, meanwhile, while all this has been happening over on the Shrike, we've gotten scenes of Riker and Deanna having little conversations with each other while they're being held prisoner. And then Worf shows up and breaks them out and kills some people. And Raffi's there.
He kills a person.
He kills one person. And Raffi's there, and she downloads some information from their computer about what they wanted with Picard's body. We get a nice glimpse, a little look at Picard's naked cadaver laying there in the glass coffin.
Which looks better than actual Picard.
And he's really well preserved. I don't know
Yeah, he
what
is.
embalming techniques they have in the 25th century, but they did a good job on that
Hmm.
motherfucker.
Hmm.
And then we cut back to the Titan, and Data has taken back control of the ship, and Jack and Seven are there, and Jack has a bomb because Jack has like gone up to the bridge to pretend to surrender himself to kind of create a distraction to give Data time to do what he needs to do. So Picard is down there with Data, and Jack is up there with you called it. It's like a thermal detonator from Star Wars. A
Yoto.
little and he's like, I'm going to blow everybody up. But then when Data takes back control, they put a little force field around Jack and Seven, and they open the door, the escape hatch on the bridge, and Vatic and all the other changelings are blown out into space, and they freeze solid.
And she says my favorite line.
Oh, fucking solids.
Fucking solids.
Fucking solids. And then she goes out into space and freezes solid, and ironically, and smashes into her own ship and does the T-1000 thing where she blows into 1,000 pieces. And apparently, with 2 episodes left, the main villain is dead. So
then they blow up the ship.
Because then they blow up. Yes, after everybody's like, okay, they blow up the ship.
First thing Shaw orders as soon as he sits down, not please someone come and stop the bleeding from my head. It's blow up the fucking ship.
Blow up the ship, please. And so they do that, and the ship is blowing up, and then everybody gets back together on the Titan, and we get the reunion for the first time of all the TNG characters, all in the same room at the same time, and they sit around the big long table, and they say, okay, so what do we do now? The antagonist is dead. We got 2 episodes left. What do we got left to do to fill 2 episodes? And so they still have to figure out what the evil changelings are going to do about Frontier Day. And Raffi apparently has some idea as to what they wanted with. They cut out the Irumodic syndrome parts of Picard's brain, and she's like, they're planning something with that, and I think I know what it is. We don't get to know that yet. And then also they're like, and also there's this thing with Jack. What's Jack's deal? And Deanna's like, hey, I'm an empath. Maybe I should go talk to him and I'll be able to figure it out. So the last scene is Deanna does like a mind meld, only the Betazoid version with Jack. And she's like, hey, let's see what's behind that red door in your brain that's been looming for the whole series. And he's like, I don't want to. Okay. And the episode ends with him about to open the red door and me being really, really annoyed.
That's not actually a part of the show. Although
no,
I'm sure
not in the show being annoyed.
You feel it strong enough that maybe other people sense it.
I projected myself into the show as a character who was just standing off to the side during the final fade to black, going, "Oh my fucking god!" It was overall not a bad episode.
Okay,
I will say that up front.
Are we doing the review part now?
Is there anything else about the recap that you want to throw in that I forgot to mention?
Armus. That's my personal.
Your theory is that Armus has something to do with what is the deal with Jack, right?
I got skin in the game, man. We both do. For people who don't listen to the Ensign's log, we killed Armus on that show.
Yes, we did. Pretty definitively.
Last season.
Yeah, Dana killed him.
We destroyed Armus. Although we can say that we kind of left it open-ended. Maybe there's like some remnants of him there.
Yeah.
But I got a very strong feeling based on what has been said over the time about this other entity that Vatic had been talking to, and especially in this episode, about loneliness and solitude, and they are ancient, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I kept saying, shit, it's Armus.
I mean, Armus would fit those characteristics, but nothing about it specifically suggested Armus to me. Now, I will go this far with you, and I know you don't necessarily mean it this way, but we have different feelings about this show. This show is fucking dumb enough and creatively bankrupt enough that it could be Armus and it would not be disruptive at all.
There's a part
it would be like, oh, of course it's fucking Armus.
There's a part of me that I kind of hope it is Armus, and I'll give you the reasons why. It bugged me that the end of the Armus episode, after it killed Tasha Yar, and basically they've identified it as nothing but pure malevolent evil, that they just put caution tape around the planet and left.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. So that doesn't, if it turns out to be him, I know that it kind of makes a brief problem for our show. It's not a big deal. We can always retcon anything.
If we even feel the necessity
need
to. I mean, yeah, like,
because we're not gonna. I don't think we're gonna time travel to the time where this show is taking place with our characters.
Right.
So as far as we're concerned, Armis is dead, and he can come back.
Yeah.
And and
if something happens between then and later, it's not our problem. Yeah.
Right. So anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I liked it, but I hated it. Blah blah.
Well,
blah.
no, I the best thing I can say about it is up until the end, I wound up liking it in spite of itself. The problem with the episode is there are really only about 2 really significant things that happen. And the rest of it is just filler and stretching and teasing and killing time until it's time to do the things that matter. Right. You get the resolution between Data and Lore, and Data kind of coming back to himself and becoming fully, like an individual again. And you get the killing off of the main villain. Right. You get the tease that we're going to learn what the deal is with Jack, but we don't actually get that. And then Worf comes. I mean, there's other things like Worf comes back, and Riker gets busted out of the Shrike with Deanna, and they get back. But like, there's not a lot that actually happens for a 50-minute episode. There's a lot of cutting back and forth. You cut away and then you cut back, and nothing has happened in the meantime. And it's just, oh, Riker and Deanna are having a heart-to-heart. Let's cut back, see what's happening on the Titan. Oh, there's Vadic, just like she was last time, waiting for them to deliver Jack. And let's see, let's check in on Picard and Crusher and Jack in sickbay. Yep, they're still waiting around, deciding what to do. There's a lot of that cut back and forth between characters deciding what they're eventually going to do, and nothing is happening. And then finally some stuff starts to happen. And when stuff finally starts to happen, it's pretty good. I love Vadic's fucking solids line. And I thought the sort of the springing of that trap was clever and made sense and was a neat way to kill off the villain. I mean, at least they didn't have her fall,
That's true.
or just have somebody shoot her or something. Like, it was a creative way to kill off the villain.
Pointless fight scene.
Yeah, yeah. It was, they outsmarted the villain. It wasn't like a fight. I thought that was good. I thought, even though some of it is kind of hokey, I thought the Data Lore stuff was good. And, so there were things about it, despite what I considered to be just the dreadful glacial pacing of it. When they actually got to the point, I thought the beats they were finally getting around to showing us were good. But they're really, I mean, they're crossing the threshold from suspense to annoyance with the Jack thing. Like, we're coming up on episode 9. We still don't know what the fucking deal is with Jack, and they really, really teased it in this one, to the point where it's like, where it wasn't just something in the background that they were reminding us was kind of going on, but other shit was happening as well. It was like a major point in this episode that they kept coming back to. The thing about Jack, the secret about Jack. We're going to tell you the secret about Jack. You ever wonder what the deal is with Jack? And they never get around to actually telling you. And they're getting to the point with me where it's like, you know what? I don't even fucking care. Like, my interest in it is waning just because I feel like they're dragging it out for too long.
That's because you don't have a theory.
And whatever is behind that fucking door, I'll just say this. And to the credit of this season of the show, previous seasons of Picard have had this problem with like all of their plot threads. Not just this one, not just one, but this one plot thread, it's getting to have that problem where you made me wait so long. Whatever's behind that door had better be good. because it had better be worth waiting 8 full episodes plus however long into the next episode that we have to sit through before they finally show us, right? Whatever's behind that door better be fucking good, guys. You better really have something planned because, you know, you've dragged it out a little too long. And same thing with whatever the Frontier Day thing is. It's like they've killed off Vadic, so now we have no connection with the villains anymore. It's just generic, faceless, changelings are planning something, which I could not give less of a fuck about. So it's like, they better have something planned that's good. That's better than Amanda Plummer camping it up, which I have extreme doubts about. But yeah, so some increasingly morbid curiosity about what is coming next and flagging faith that it will be worth the wait. But this episode in and of itself, when it hits its beats that it's building to, it's actually not so bad. So I have no major complaints about it other than
stop talking.
Stop it. Go ahead. What did you think?
Stop before you reverse your opinion again.
Shut up.
It's the same review from last time. Parts I liked, the rest, what the fuck? I don't care. No
Only
kidding.
More so. I liked it. I did not like this episode as much as I liked last week's.
Okay. I like this episode. It's fine. I'm disappointed that we didn't find out what the fuck is going on with Jack, but there was a lot that they needed to do. And that's I think that is the main difference between this season and other seasons. They had stuff to do that never amounted to anything. We'd cut away to characters that would talk about stuff, and we're like, okay, we saw that scene. What the fuck does that have to do with the rest of the season? Yeah. And, they would like introduce a character that wouldn't amount to anything. For the most part, we have been with the same characters this entire episode, right? They introduced Vadic, but they haven't really introduced anybody else that has stuck around, right? We got Jack, we got Vadic, and for the first time, we have the entire team together in this episode where all of them are sitting around a table.
Yeah.
But they had stuff that they needed to do. I felt the pacing was fine. Picard and Beverly really didn't have much to do except to react, because everyone else was like, okay, we're gonna do stuff. It's like Geordi's like, we're gonna take down the partition between Data and Lore and hope it works out. And Jack is going to distract everybody. And if everything fell apart, then everything fell apart. Am I disappointed that I don't know what's going on with Jack? Yeah, but I also understand that they have 2 more episodes. So if we find out what's going on in this next coming up episode, and then they conclude it in the final, which I think they're doing, it's 10 episodes, right?
Yeah, it's 10 episodes.
Okay. I'll be okay. I felt the pacing was fine. I liked a lot of the character moments that we were given. Boy, oh boy, do you really feel like Deanna and Riker have been together for a long time? Because they kind of have.
And their interactions when they were in that cell were really good, I thought.
Yeah.
It seemed very genuine.
That heartfelt. I was wondering if they were going to address it, and they did it immediately about Worf and Deanna. Which was like, dude, did you totally forget about Jadzia, or have you been holding a torch for Counselor Troy for all these years?
I don't mind. You know why?
Why?
Jadzia is a DS9 character.
So is Worf. Get over it.
I'm just kidding. All
right. We got some character beats. It was great to see Lore. Well, to see Brent Spiner play Lore. Hopefully, I think for the last time. Lore's gone. Think so. Yeah. Lore's gone. We both knew that Data was up to something the minute he started handing over his memories gladly.
Yeah.
To Lore. We're like, okay,
here,
Data.
Take this.
Data, what are you doing? Here. Eat it.
I couldn't possibly have another memory. No, come on.
But at least it wasn't a fucking fight. Right? It wasn't some white space where they have to fist fight each other over it. It was like, oh, that's why I said it. Oh boy, I hope we go to some nebulous white space so that we can see them talk to each other. And that's what they did.
Heard you. That's literally the next thing that happened after you said that.
And then at the end of the episode, when Counselor Troy and Jack are holding hands to walk their way through the red door to go see Armis. You know what? I'm going to conclude that it is Armis, so that if it's something different, I'll go, oh, okay. She's there with him. So, more classic Trek kind of stuff where she's now in that hallway with Jack, and she's going to see Armis, and she's going to faint and go, oh,
and at least she'll know who
Armis.
the fuck Armis is, because Jack will be like, what the fuck is that?
And I'm only saying this. What was one of the things that Data gave to Lore? It was
the Tasha thing.
The Tasha,
the little Tasha hologram. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm if they come up with something different, I'll be happy. If it is Armis, I'll be like, okay, let's see where we go with this, because Armis is kind of an open-ended. What the fuck did you guys do? Really? You just left the skin of evil to just wander around a planet, pissed off, and you didn't think that maybe what would happen if a changeling and Armis met? Because Armis is...
They have a lot in common.
They do.
You're a pool of goo, so am I.
Mm-hmm. And who knows? Maybe that thing they cut out of Picard is some remnant of Armis. And maybe somehow he passed that on to Jack. I don't know how he'd do that, but...
Yeah, apparently it's genetic.
Apparently. But I'm not morbidly curious about the last two episodes. I'm genuinely engaged at this point. Now, if next episode we don't find out what the fuck is going on with Jack, I might actually start getting pissed off.
I think we need to find out, like, not just the next episode, but early in the next episode. The next episode needs to, at least in some significant measure, be about what the deal is with Jack.
Exactly. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was well paced. It gave us a whole bunch of character stuff. Boy, oh boy, it was good to see Data and Geordi together again. Those were like I said before, those are the scenes that I wanted in the first season of Picard. Not, I kind of want to kill myself, Data, and no Geordi around at all whatsoever. When Data was talking about that version of me, I'm sure is resting peacefully. I wish he had said that version of me was a wretched piece of shit. How dare he throw this away? Not a whole lot for Shaw to do.
There hasn't been a whole lot for Shaw to do in the last couple of episodes.
Can you explain to me why 7 of 9 decided to stay on the bridge instead of go into the ready room with everybody?
There's no reason, because she didn't do anything.
No, she didn't do anything. She
That's
was
the
kind
other
of
thing.
there.
Oh no, but the only reason she was there is so Vadic could throw out another little tease. That again, I'm starting to get annoyed by it, because they're not paying anything off as far as that goes. Because she says to 7, "Well, how appropriate that you should be here when I tell Jack the secret of what makes him different." And then we never learn what that is, because they blow the doors and Vadic gets
so
T-1000.
But why is it appropriate that she's there?
That's what you're supposed to be so curious about. Which again, at this point, I'm like, all right, come on, fucking TikTok.
You're getting too old for the whimsy and wonder of Star Trek, Steve.
No, well, yeah, because this show is just so whimsical, right? This is surely the most whimsical Star Trek has ever been.
I would ask who stomped the child in you to death, but I know it was you.
Terry Metalis.
You were the one
Terry
wearing the
Metalis.
Boots. Don't you
He stomped it. Don't we live in a really weird world, don't we? When the showrunner for the best currently in production Star Trek show is fucking Akiva Goldsman. Did you ever think we'd live in that fucking world?
Why did you have to say that out loud?
I'm just saying, isn't it weird? I never would have. If someone would have come to me in 1998 and said, in 2023, there's going to be an amazing Star Trek show, and it's going to be written and showrun by Akiva Goldsman, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. I would definitely not believe in time travel if you told me that. But here we are.
Well, we'll see how good it goes, because they're having a crossover with the next season of Strange New Worlds with your least favorite.
With my least favorite
series.
current. I'm again morbidly curious.
Okay.
Morbidly curious. I can't say I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably looking forward to it less than I am just generic new Strange New Worlds episodes, like no matter what they end up being about. But I'm morbidly curious to see what the hell are they going to do with this? How is this going to turn out?
I agree that they could have changed the tease with Jack, and maybe we would have landed at this point with a more comfortable, cliffhanger. Had they teased it just a little bit more, but I mean,
it would have. It would have been better if he had opened the door and we just saw something behind it that we didn't even necessarily grasp what it meant. We just saw an image or a figure or a person or something, and we don't necessarily like even grasp the significance yet. But there's at least a moment of consummation where he's finally opened that fucking door, and now we know, okay, next episode is whatever this is, because they've ended 2 episodes in a row now on the exact same tease.
Yep.
Just in different ways.
Yep, they did. But overall, I enjoyed the episode. It moved along. It had enough character beats that I enjoyed, even though we clearly called it with the whole data thing. It was like...
Yeah, which, again, I'm not saying that's even necessarily a bad thing, because they had to do something with that. They couldn't have Data and Lore having multiple personalities for the rest of the show, and it needed to be Data for obvious reasons. So,
And Worf keeps coming through in clutch. He's always good. He's always good whenever we see him. Yep. He's always a badass, and he's funny.
Yeah,
I love the line that he had in the ready room, in that ready room, where he said, "I have defeated countless enemies and thought of sending you their heads many times, but I was told
I was told not to.
Passive aggressive."
Yeah.
I would love it just to have a quick flashback, Family Guy style, of Picard waddling around Chateau Picard. Package for you, and he opens it up, and it's some fucking person's head, and he's like, "Oh, well, I suppose I should send a bottle of my sour mead to Worf again."
And I do. That's another thing that I want to, since like I want to point out the positive things, right? That I am finding in the show. At first, I wasn't sure about it, but now that they have fully committed to it and they keep going back to it, I kind of like the Picard's wine sucks running gag.
Me too.
They've won me over with that, and because they keep doing it in different ways, they keep coming back to it. It's not just like a series of characters going, "Yeah, his wine's fucking shit. Have you had his wine?" It's because the way they get to it this time is Picard says it, because Picard and Beverly and Jack arrive at the lab where Geordi and Data are. And of course, the ship is overrun by changelings, so they need to confirm that everybody is who they appear to be. And Geordi says something to Picard about like, 6 years ago, you sent me I sent you something and you sent me something back or whatever. And the answer was that Picard sent Geordi a bottle of Chateau Picard, and Picard adds this really snarky comment about, how Geordi didn't enjoy it because his taste in wine is pedestrian. And you can tell it's just dripping with venom when he's like, "Hey, my wine is good. I don't know what you're talking about." And it was,
I make it with zero love or care. I do it because I have nothing else to do.
My robots do a good job making that wine. But yeah, because they just won't let it go. They're like a dog with a bone. They just will not let it go that Picard's wine is dog shit. And it has won me over. In a way,
it's a little bit of them shitting on season 1 and 2.
A little bit.
Because so much of it
had to do with the Data thing. Same thing with the Data thing, with Data basically saying, "Yeah, the version of me that you killed off in season 1. I mean, like, wasn't really me. Okay." Like, that version of me is dead, right?
And this is me, no discernible difference, Data, except I can use contractions. And now apparently I get to suffer from aches and pains, which I find to be interesting. And
Brent Spiner doesn't have to spend as much time in the makeup chair.
No. He's still a little shiny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's not like, I mean, there's still some kind of treatment there, but it's not like the fucking yellow makeup and, they don't have to de-age him.
So I liked it. I liked it, just like I liked the last episode. Am I jumping up and down saying it's the greatest thing I've ever seen? Um, it's my second favorite after Strange New Worlds, because I don't like Discovery.
I
Not
know.
that much.
I know.
I just gave up. I kept giving up on it. I'm like, oh, she's crying again. Fuck this. And just like, I just was like, I was tired of her. I don't like her as a character. And she's like in every episode, and every minute she gets, she stares.
She's the lead protagonist of the series.
Yeah,
it's like saying, this Captain Kirk guy's in every episode.
Yeah, but it wasn't
no
called
shit.
The TV show wasn't called Captain Kirk. It was called Star Trek.
I don't feel the same way about Burnham that you do, and I like this. I mean,
I know.
With all of its with all of its many ups and downs, and it has had quite a few of them over the years. I've always considered Discovery to be a far superior show to Picard, and I still think that. But
I honestly believe it. I had my fill of Burnham is so important with season 2 of Discovery, where that was the Red Angel season, right?
Yes, season 2. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And after that, I was like, geez, I don't really like her. I didn't like her in season 1, where she fucked up and started a war with the Klingon Empire. Fuck her. And now we're supposed to just be like, oh, okay, she learned her lesson. She should have gone back to fucking prison. That's where she should have gone. But I'm not going to complain about it too much, because it got us Strange New Worlds. So I'm not, and it got us a great Pike. And
yes, oh boy.
But then when it was just them, I was like, boy, this would be a great show if she wasn't on it. I would just be far more engaged.
I don't have anything. I don't have the animus toward the character that you have. I mean, I will say she's not my favorite character on the show. Like I love Saru and I love Tilly, and I mean
almost everybody.
Some of the other. Well, the other ones that they've developed, because that is another one of the ongoing struggles with the show, is that, there's still a whole bunch of characters that we see a lot that we know almost nothing about. But the ones that they've actually developed, are all pretty good.
Or the ones that we see a lot, then they develop for one episode to kill them at the end of it.
that was a thing that they did it. Well, the big one they did that for was Ariam, where it was like she was the interesting looking robot lady in the background, and it's like, oh, I wonder what her deal is, and then you find out what her deal is, and then she's dead. It's like, oh, that's why we were spending so much time with her for this one episode.
There were so many places we could go with a character like that, but nope,
she's dead. But yeah, no, but I still prefer it with all of its, shortcomings and ups and downs. I still prefer
overall,
it to Picard,
I know that a lot of people who watch these think that I'm far easier on this show than you are, which is true. But I have been far harsher. I've been far harsher on New Trek overall than you have been.
I think, I think Strange New Worlds was the first season of New Trek that you just
genuinely
liked from start to finish without major problems. Yeah.
Without any major problems. And, I gave up on Discovery. Maybe at some point I'll go back and watch it, but I don't feel I'm not interested in the main character per se. I don't feel a need to do that. I kind of just gave up on I can't even remember the name of the animated show anymore.
Lower Decks.
Lower Decks. Yeah. Simply because I'm sure lots of people find it funny. I didn't. And so I was like, okay, whatever.
That's my main problem with it too.
I mean, I don't like, there are the shows that I don't watch because I'm just not interested in them. I don't hate them, right? I don't hate Voyager. I just kind of see it for what it is. And it was just kind of like, no, I'll tell everyone here. I stopped watching Voyager after the Tuvix episode.
So, which was pretty early. Which was like season 2, I think. Yeah,
it was. I lost interest in the show after the Tuvix episode, because I was like, how am I supposed to like any of these people after this? He's literally begging to be allowed to exist, and nobody's helping him.
and the captain of the ship in a Star Trek show is like, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck off.
I want my friend back. Sorry.
And then after it's done,
Yeah.
let's never talk about it again. Everything's
That was what
fine.
bothered me about it. That was my big problem with it, was that, it was like you have this thing happen that should like really be a major
Mhm.
earthquake in the lives of these people, and it's like, no, never happened.
For those people who didn't watch Voyager, the Tuvix episode is when the Vulcan Tuvok and the intergalactic Technicolor Warthog um,
Neelix.
Neelix are combined into one person that's called Tuvix, and they're perfectly happy and they like being together. But the rest
Yeah.
of the crew wants them back, and so against their will, they force them to be split back into two people again. And of course, we see Tuvix and the two whatever his name is. What we see Tuvok and
Neelix.
Neelix,
Tuvok and Neelix, yeah.
and they're so happy. And we're just sat there going like, did we just watch the crew voluntarily murder something that begged not to be?
Yeah, we kind of did.
And I always wanted that ending to be both Tuvok and Neelix upset with them, with both of them. Not just with them, but with everybody. I mean, Jesus Christ, when my favorite character, the Doctor, says, I ain't doing this. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and he's the only one who raises any kind of protest.
We
and
don't care.
Even he, like the thing I always point out. Yeah, I mean, the Doctor is the only one who stands up and says, "I'm not doing it." But then the captain says, "Okay, I'll do it," and the Doctor's like, "All right." He makes no effort to stop her or to talk her out of it. He's like, "I'm not doing this. This is wrong. Well, I'll do it." Okay.
Well, when they got back to Starfleet Academy, he had this huge debrief session, and then she wanted me.
Also, she erased my memories like a bunch of times for her own convenience. But anyway, we're going off track. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate any of the shows. I mean,
okay.
I mean, even though I sometimes give, negative reviews where, I'm kind of expressing myself in an energetic way about what I don't like about it. I don't hate Lower Decks. I just don't, it's a comedy show that doesn't make me laugh. And I don't like its style of humor, and it's just not for me. If other people enjoy it, which a lot of people do, then I think that's great, but it's not my thing. I haven't, with the exception of a few episodes this season that I have enjoyed, I haven't really liked Picard. If other people have enjoyed it more than I have, that's great. Yeah, Jason has liked it a lot this year. That's great.
I'm your best friend.
And Jason's my best friend. He's betrayed me. I think that's great. Like, there are people who I really like and respect their opinions who disagree, who saw the episode, the Strange New Worlds episode, Memento Mori, that I am still fucking turning cartwheels over. I think it's one of the best Star Trek episodes.
They were like, meh.
Yeah, so there are some people who like actively thought it was like rotten, like they really didn't like it. I don't get that because I think that episode is incredible, but to each their own. So it's like, it is what it is. So yeah, I thought this episode was, a little drawn out.
You're giving it another okay.
Less okay than last week, because again, I'm really losing patience with the Jack thing. And the longer they draw it out, the less interested I am in what it is. So hopefully they pay that off. We said this exact thing last week. Hopefully next week they pay off the Jack thing.
That's true. But we'll see. So, and we'll see if they don't pay it off next week. We'll see if I actually get pissed off, because overall
if that's your last straw. Because overall, okay, now I'm pissed at them.
By the end of the episode, if they gave me everything except a reveal on the Jack thing, but they gave me other stuff that I enjoyed, it lessens that. Pardon me. It lessens that.
Sure.
Where I don't feel like I've been ripped off because they haven't told me what's going on with Jack. It's kind of like they gave me a whole bunch of other stuff that I really did enjoy. And hopefully they're smart enough that when that payoff hits, it hits at the right time, and it's a good payoff, and everybody's theories, including my own, are wrong. And who knows, the Traveler walks out and goes, I would love for whatever is behind the door
I would love for whoever is behind the Frontier Day thing, all the stuff they have yet to reveal. I would love for it to be shit that we've never seen before, that we've never heard about before, that isn't some fucking nostalgic reference to something that happened on an episode from TNG. I would love for it to be new, fresh, exciting stuff that
You need to
see it
lock
and you go,
in.
oh,
This is a nostalgic show, Steve.
I know, man.
You need to lock in. If you want new Trek, petition them and say, I want a new Star Trek show.
Please make a new show with new people, please. You used to do that. Remember?
Remember Enterprise? Well, don't remember it too much. But
well, I
remember...
mean, just, that's the concept. Not necessarily that exact show, but
Who knows? Maybe we'll get a spin-off of this show with Shaw and Seven of Nine and whoever else rounds out that cast.
As I have said, but see, the problem I have with that is I feel like that spinoff would not be the show like that. If they did the Captain Shaw show and it was about him and his crew and that was the show and it was like Strange New Worlds, but with those characters in this setting and it was, that was it. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a continuation of the TNG reunion show.
That's what I mean. It's not a continuation.
I think that could potentially be terrific because Shaw has really grown on me and the other characters.
I flat out love Shaw. I really do.
So I think there could be potential there. But if it's going to be like another season of this, only under a different name, where it's like, oh, let's see what Geordi's up to. It's like, I'm not interested in that. Like, I want this, as much as I love all these characters from TNG, I swear to God, if I see any of these fucking people again after episode 10, I'm not going to be happy. Because if this is the last go round,
yeah,
go ahead.
There's only one major problem if they spin this off into a Titan series.
What's that?
No sexy Vulcan bald lady.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't going to mention it anymore. I was going to try to,
She was cute. She was cute and competent.
Maybe she has a twin sister.
Please don't.
And she's also in Starfleet.
Why did you have to say that out loud? Because they're like, I'm her twin sister. And it's like, oh, no, please.
And I have her exact personality, and I'm going to take her job on the ship, and it'll be just like she was still here. I'm even going to change my name to her name.
I did have one question for this whole episode, and then we can stop. Okay?
Yes, please.
Was that Bajoran's first name Matthew?
It was.
So is he half?
Or was his last name Matthew?
So was he half Bajoran? I mean, it's possible.
Sure.
I mean, apparently one of the Starfleet officers was going on for them.
Yeah. Or maybe the doctor who delivered him was a human doctor named Matthew, and his Bajoran parents were like, "Oh, that's a good name."
And as a product of Deep Space Nine, do you hate him and you want him off the show?
I was like, kill him. He doesn't belong here.
Bajorans don't belong anywhere else but other than DS9. I hate it.
I love how you are intentionally misinterpreting me when I say that. And all the people in the comments seem to be like honestly misinterpreting what I meant when I said that.
How do you know? They're probably just doing the same thing I'm doing, except they
Some
don't
of them are. Some of them are.
To do it to your face.
There are,
No, I know your limits, but I did hear that the next episode is on Deep Space Nine. So.
Oh, good. I can't wait.
It's the only safe haven they can go to.
And I'm sure there's a really good reason for that. And there's no possible way the writer could have made any other creative choice.
Kira and Bashir will welcome them on board.
Sure. Bashir and Garrick are married now.
No, that's just fed boy.
They've adopted Bajoran war orphans as children.
Now that I've said it out loud, Steve, there's a real possibility that they could do that.
Absolutely.
And I've also realized that I've become Mike and you're Rich. But you've been rich a lot longer than me.
I take offense to that.
Why?
I do actually like a lot of things. Rich is like, I feel like Rich is too much of a pedant. I'm not a pedant.
Look into the camera and say that.
I'm not a pedant. Or a pedant, if you pronounce it that way, if you're pedantic about the pronunciation of pedant.
Whatever.
Anyway, we'll be back next week to review episode 9.
Yay.
The penultimate episode, where we still probably won't find out what the fucking deal is with Jack Crusher.
Yeah, the next week's title is We Open the Red Door and Steve Can Shut His Motherfucking Mouth.
Okay, fine. We'll tell you what's behind the door. Jesus. That should be the title. All right. We'll see you then, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.